Hello, everybody. This is Brad Lewis with Premier Marketing. I'm the VP of Sales here for Premier, and I help manage and direct a team that works with final expense, life, and annuities here at Premier Marketing. And today we're excited to feature a product that we've had since last June that's just doing very, very well for us, and that is the CVS Health Accendo final expense product. And today on our call, we have a special guest. So we have Bob Grannan on the call with us today. Bob Grannan is the Managing Director for Sales and Marketing at Integrity, and he has a very long resume and list of career accomplishments that he has. I won't go through them all, but I do want to give Bob a quick introduction of just to give everybody a background of who he is and the value he brings to the table, not only in helping all of us that are associated with Integrity, but also carriers relationships as well. So prior to joining Integrity, Bob was president of Grannon Enterprises. And then also prior to that, he spent nearly 30 years at Aegon and Transamerica and Providian corporations as well. So Bob has been developing products and in the final expense space for years, and in total generated over $800 million in sales since the inception of the products that he's developed. So with that, I want to turn everything over to Bob. Hopefully I got your introduction right, Bob, and you won't have to correct anything on me there, but we appreciate you being on the call today and sharing with the agents and reps that we have on the phone today the advantages of the great product we're going to talk about.
Well, thanks, Brad, and yeah, appreciate the introduction. It's been for the people on the call, as you could tell from the introduction, I've spent much of my career working with middle-income America, and I'm very proud of that. I believe that as you will learn from the presentation today, the single largest market in America is middle-income America. And I suspect that most of the people on this call today consider themselves to be part of that market. And to serve that market is truly an honor. It is an underserved market. And what we have to talk about today is something we can do to help families prepare for one of the most difficult days in their life by having the addition of a solid final expense product. I have, as Brad said, I've been involved in the development of products. I've had a chance to look at what else is in the marketplace. There are a number of carriers who we highly regard in this market space. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the final expense product brought to us through the CVS family of companies. And I'm going to make a point to do two things today, I hope, for you. One is, well, I'm going to make it three things. One is to help remind you of just how tremendous this market is. By the way, I do not believe there is a larger market in America than the market that requires the services provided through the final expense marketplace, period. Number two, I want to talk about some of the, I call it points of distinction for this CVS final expense product. What are the things about it that can be on the top of mind for you as you sit in front of a customer or you approach a customer with this as being a potential solution to their life insurance needs? And then lastly, some ideas that might trigger you to action to now for next steps after this seminar is completed to say, okay, I want to go out and start making a difference myself relative to this. So let's go ahead and kick it off as we talk about this product and what it will do. I mentioned earlier that this is truly, the middle income market is truly one of the most underserved markets in America. We see a lot of insurance agents out there competing for the big insurance policy, taking care of the people who have a lot of discretionary income. Well, in America, that's not the way it is for most people. A lot of people are meeting their obligations, taking care of their families, but having insurance be part of their financial program and part of their protection program for their family, a lot of folks haven't made that decision. And somebody says, well, just how important is this? And this first statistic is very sobering for me. And that is 59% of Americans, if faced with an emergency of $1,000, it would create hardship. They would have to borrow or somebody have difficulty coming up with $1,000. Well, as you well know, if you've been in the final expense and life insurance business for some time, end of life expenses far exceed $1,000, far exceed that. It's, by many estimates, it's $12,000, $15,000, $18,000 that could come into play for someone to deal with end of life expenses when you add funeral and other kinds of expenses that come into play at the end of one's life. So it can be quite demanding. A couple statistics I want to remind you of, and these are sometimes, maybe it should be obvious, but I want to make sure it is for you. And that is, write this down, 100%. That is how many people are going to die. We're all going to pass. We have no idea when. And oh, by the way, you've heard the phrase, the only two sure things in life are death and taxes. Well, we're going to die and someone's going to pay. Someone's going to pay for these end of life expenses. And that is just a brutal reality. And it is my opinion, based on some data I've seen, that somewhere in a range of 60% of Americans either have no individual insurance coverage, they do not have enough to cover end of life expenses, or they have a type of insurance that may not be there when they need it. And later on, I'll talk about what I mean by not being there when you need it. So first of all, we have a tremendous market. We have a tremendous need. This is a needs-based opportunity and product for customers. It is not a want, it's a need. And feel proud when you sit before someone, you're going to give solutions to how you can respond to that need. We have partnered here with CVS Health, the Accendo life insurance company is part of that family, and the relationship that Premier has in working with you to provide this product. This is a product where the company CVS says that nearly 70% of Americans live within just 3 miles of a CVS. I mean, that's amazing when you think about brand recognition. It's hard to say anyone could have missed it, but if you watch television, they talk about the various corporations helping with the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine. I've seen statistics on TV that say 80% of Americans live within 3 miles of a CVS pharmacy. I can leave my home and drive 4 different directions and pass a CVS pharmacy. So this recognition gives you the value of representing one of the most trusted brands in America, period. Truly one of the most trusted drugstore brands, but they are truly beyond that. They are a recognized brand, period, in America. Now, what do we get by working with an organization like this? There's a few things that I just want to highlight early on, and we will talk more about that in just a second. This brand, though, another couple points to identify is CVS is considered to be a Fortune 5 company. That talks to their size and financial strength to be there when a customer needs it. So if someone worries about whether the insurance company is going to be able to take care of that claim, don't worry about that with CVS, because they are truly a mammoth of an organization with broad reach, broad capacity, and take great pride in the service they provide to others. Within CVS is the Aetna family of companies, one being Aetna's Medicare Sup. Many agents have seen, maybe some have sold that product. Well, there's an interesting relationship here that because of the relationship within the CVS family, there is the potential, not guaranteed, but the potential to get a discount further on your final expense if you've received a MedSup underwritten policy in the past 6 months. So it's kind of a chance because of this relationship to even get a better deal than you may have thought of initially. The applications are very simple. In middle income America, what we've learned is people prefer to get an application completed to apply for insurance in as simple way as possible. Simple, what does that mean? Answer yes and no questions. Does not require a paramed to come by your home. Does not require going to your doctor to get records. Simply answer these simple questions. We offer very strong commissions. The commissions for this product to an agent for doing what you do on a day-to-day basis are as competitive and as attractive as any in the industry, and we feel good about that. I mentioned that this potential for a discount on final expense could come if you happen to have had an underwritten med sup policy in the past 6 months. And one might say, well, how often does that occur? Well, let me give you a couple statistics. 44% of the time, annually, people will shop their Medicare sup. I'm one of those people. Once you hit 65 and you can have a Medicare supplement policy, at the end of your first year, you can choose to move to another company. So what we're saying is nearly half the individuals who have a policy do some shopping. So it's top of mind for people. There's roughly 14 million people today who have a MedSup policy. So it's a large portion of the population, and somewhere close to 10% actually make a change. So yes, there are people out there who are shopping, people who are looking for the opportunity, and I think that when you bring this up to someone, you're going to find there's an awareness and a desire to know where that's a possibility. What does that super preferred do? Well, it gives you the chance, if you've qualified for the preferred rate on this policy, you have a chance of reducing that rate by 10%. What's the good news about that? It doesn't change your commissions. Even though the premium went down, as an agent, you're still going to be paid as if it was the preferred rate premiums. You will not be penalized because they've gotten this discount. Currently, they pay commissions twice a week. There's a really simple quoting tool. Matter of fact, there was recently just an enhancement to that tool that you can use. Download the app called Quotes on the Go. Download that app to your smartphone. You can put in an amount of coverage and it will determine the price for the coverage. Or if a person says my budget is $50, my budget's $100, my budget's $200, it will tell them how much insurance they can purchase. So you can solve either way. There's no requirement to ask a height and weight question. And as silly as that may seem to some, in my experience in the insurance business, that's one of the toughest questions to get a straight answer. Many people tend to be thinking they're taller than they are and not quite as robust as they may convey. So you don't need to worry about that. You're going to ask the questions, the health questions, and those health questions will determine eligibility, not whether someone is a little too heavy for their height. So don't worry about having to be put in that position. That's a key point of distinction, as is that 10% potential discount on a preferred rate. In addition, look at the age range. This product is for consideration ages 40 to 89. No other carrier has any more broad potential to cover individuals. That is huge. You go in on a lead for someone who's 60 or 70, in all likelihood, they have a child that you could talk to who's still in that age range. And if it's good enough for grandpa, it's good enough for the it's good enough for their son. So I think that knowing that, you have the potential to share and take care of a need for more families. This next item is I think, also really critical. It deals with flexible coverage amounts. The minimum amount is $2,000. Depending on age, you can go up as high as 50. Some ages, it's a little lower. But being able to go at $2,000, if you're sitting there with someone, they've had a policy in force for several years, their budget is tight, and you can add $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 of coverage. That is tremendous. Think about it. Think about it. If a person is at a funeral home and to have 2,000 more, 3,000 more, 5,000 more, it makes all the difference in the world. Remember, one of my earlier charts showed that if a person needed to come up with $1,000, they would struggle to do that. So please don't ever underestimate the power of selling someone a smaller face amount if that is what their budget dictates. You're in a position with this product to cover a broad range of people, a broad range of health situations, and also be able to adjust coverage to match and fit with their financial budget. Remember, In life insurance, first of all, you have to qualify. Once you qualify, then you need to be capable of paying for it, because insurance that's not enforced is of zero value. It's not worth the paper it's written on. But lastly, a person needs to be willing to pay. So a person needs to make sure they're prepared to adjust a budget for life to take care of this obligation. Otherwise, the benefit will not be there. And lastly, you can set up on the schedule so the drafts occur to coincide with Social Security deposits, which is a great way to make sure that people stay current and aren't worrying about when their premium's going to come out of their policy. A couple of other things I want to talk about here that I think really drive some of the distinction for this product. And this is the riders. The first one listed here is a child and grandchild rider. Now, this is a rider that can be made available up to 9 children. It covers kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, kind of the full array. If this rider is added at the time the base policy is issued for the parent or grandparent, down the road, additional children can be added. Now, you have to have the rider to start off with. But down the road, another grandchild comes on the scene, another child comes on the scene. You can add that child to this coverage. I think that's way cool. It's available initially for a child between the ages of 30 days and 18 years old. That's the window they have to take out this policy. It is it can then be converted between the ages of 22 and 25. And here's another feature that I think is just really pretty awesome. You can take that child's coverage, let's say it was $2,000, it can be converted to as much as $10,000. If it were $5,000, it could be as much as, well, I shouldn't say that, the child riders in increments of $2,500. So I said 2,000, but it's 2,500. So 2,500, 5,000, 7,500, up to 10,000. So that the child rider can be converted up to 5 times. So if you have a $5,000 child rider, it can convert to $25,000. New whole life policy. Rates are locked in for that person's life. What a great gift to give a young person starting out their life. So it's a terrific product. There are health questions. In the event one of the children can't answer no to all the questions, the other children can be covered. So know that there could be some distinction there. I will tell you that in the case of the child rider, there must be a Social Security number. Just as on the application of the base insured, a Social Security number is required to insure anyone under this program. So the child would need that as well. So if they're sitting there with a parent and they have to get that information, then they want to work toward getting that to make sure we can get the appropriate coverage. Another rider is what's called the accelerated death benefit rider. Someone's diagnosed with a terminal illness, they can choose to accelerate a benefit of up to 50% of the face to use those dollars however they see fit. They can go into experimental treatment. They can take that last trip they've been wanting to make. They can do what they want to do with those dollars. You don't have to, but it's an option. It's a resource available. The other thing about this rider I really like is you only take up to 50%. So if it's a $10,000 policy or $20,000 policy, you're still leaving behind, if you take 50%, you're leaving $5,000, $10,000, you're still leaving dollars available for end of life expenses, because that's going to come, and people in that situation clearly are faced with that and understand what's going on. The last is the accidental death benefit rider, and this is one that in the event a person's life is cut short due to an accident, it will pay twice the face amount at the death benefit. Now, the accelerated death benefit, the child rider and the accidental death rider, there is an additional premium. The accelerated death benefit rider, there is no extra premium. It's only a $200 fee if and when it's exercised. So it's a modest rate when that occurs. The others do pay a premium and would apply for the life of the policy. Again, when you look at those rates, they're quite reasonable. The accidental death benefit rider, one of the things I want to mention, some people say, well, is it worth insuring for an accident, there's a chart that's distributed by the Center for Disease and Control that if you look at the top 10 causes of death in every age group in America, accident shows up as one of those top 10. It just happens. All we have to do is pick up the newspaper, and every day we see people at varying ages where something's occurred as a result of an accident, whether it's auto, a fall, something happening that results in death. So it's a really moderate additional premium, but gives a lot more benefit in that period of time that in the event something could happen to someone totally unexpected, so to speak. So another good factor there. I'm going to talk a little bit about this electronic application process that is used for this product. For those who've sold an Aetna product in the past, this is going to look very familiar because it works with the same Aetna enrollment tool. And again, I need to apologize. There's some confusion. I will say CVS, I will say Aetna, I will say Accendo. They're part of the same family of companies. So make sure you get that clear. I will most often refer to CVS just to keep it simple, and because that's such a highly recognized brand, but it's all part of that same family, know that. This electronic app is simply the smoothest, simplest one I've seen in the industry. You say, why is that? Well, it is intuitive that you, as you work through this, you just kind of follow the bouncing ball. You go to the next step, you go to the highlighted button, and it just kind of builds your policy. As you ask health questions, it will slot that customer into the best value for the dollar based upon their health conditions. Remember, life insurance is based upon your age, your sex, your smoking status, and your health. So this policy, this product, we have preferred rates, standard rates, and what's called the modified benefit rates. That based on your health, it will slot you in what's available best for you. And here's a caution. Sometimes people will use the term standard rates are more expensive than preferred, or that modified is more expensive than the others. Let me ask you to think about it this way. Since life insurance is based upon your age, your sex, your smoking status, and your health, it is the best value based upon your health. So if a person qualifies for a modified product, it's not more expensive than the others. It is the best value for a person with those health conditions. Think of it that way. This is a very straightforward. Someone's worried about, oh, the price is more. Well, the price is more compared to preferred, but you're not eligible preferred. You can't have a preferred. I will say to someone, if you want to buy a Corvette Stingray, it's a very expensive vehicle. A Chevrolet Malibu is less expensive. Is it more expensive? Well, you're buying a Chevrolet Malibu versus a Corvette. Here it's a modified product versus the other product, and that's just the pricing for those kinds of things. Think about it that way. The other thing I say about this, if you look at the screen real closely, you're going to notice near the top, just under Aetna and to the right, you see eKit. This is a product that may be sold over the phone. You don't have to be face-to-face. The one thing you do have to do is at this point in time, you would click on eKit. You would put in the person's email address, and you would send a kit to them. That is the last thing you will do of any effort regarding electronics, regarding emails with the customer. You have to at least send them the eKit. Okay, now we're face-to-face. What we're going to do is we're going to, at the very start of this e-app, you're going to identify preferred, standard, or modified. I always tell people just pick preferred because this is just the start. At the end of the application process, it will tell you what they're eligible for, and you can even adjust how much coverage. You'll notice here it says what's the benefit amount. If you put in a certain amount here, it does not restrict you on making that adjustment at the end of the application process to go with the amount that truly meets the customer's needs and their budget. I like to put in a number that's on the higher end. When you get to the end, then you can say, okay, well, if you went to the maximum amount, it would cost this. If we need to adjust it down, it would cost this. You can make those adjustments very easily. This product also permits you to get a decision at the end of the application process. Right now, we have issued since June, and Brad mentioned earlier that we have started this product in June. We've issued over 20,000 policies. Over 95% are being submitted electronically. That is incredible. Why? It's simple, it's intuitive, and even for the veterans with a little gray in their temples, they find out how simple this is. In addition, there's no question as to whether you captured all the data. This makes sure you submit an application in good order. In addition, don't worry about the mail services. I don't know about you, I've had a number of bills from different utilities that have been delayed getting to my home during this COVID period. At least they use that as the excuse. Well, you don't worry about mail services here. You're submitting this electronically. And lastly, more importantly, in 60% of the cases, 60%, within 90 seconds, you're going to get a decision. You're approved or you're declined. Those are the two decisions you can get right at that point of sale. Approved or declined. The other 40% are referred to underwriting, and that's where it generally takes 2 to 3 days to get a decision made. Some faster, but that's kind of a typical turnaround, pretty quick for someone can be reminded of. As you go through this electronic application process, when you hit submit, it will literally spin and eventually come back and say, congratulations, you're approved. And again, 90 seconds, that's pretty powerful. During that period of time, the application will check the prescription drug database. It will check the medical database on codings that someone's been to a doctor. It kind of checks those electronic files as well as the MIB. So it's pretty typical of what happens in normal underwriting through the home office. And therefore, if there's something that shows up that is inconsistent with how the app was answered, it won't tell you that. It's going to just refer it to the underwriter. And the underwriter may, if that happens, please let your customer know. They may, not 100%, but they may get a phone call. You may get a phone call. Depending on how they believe they can get that question answered, is a call to get that resolved so that we can conclude exactly what's happening with someone. Now, at this point in the application where you have, first we've gathered signatures before we actually went for approval, but during the signature process, this is another thing about this that I love. If you're face-to-face, you're going to be able to turn the computer and have the customer actually just hit a button, click, I've signed. If you're on the phone with someone, you will ask them a security question. It could be something like, what's your pet's name? And it could be Killer. Okay, well, I'm going to put in Killer on my application. Then you're going to ask the customer, may I apply your signature? They're going to say yes. Boom, click the signature. There's no emailing back and forth. That is an option, but I don't recommend using that approach. We have such a simple process as this. In addition, the email or the application once issued is going to be mailed to the customer. You don't have to deal with that at all. And oh, here's another neat feature. Let's say you're out with a customer and you've taken electronic app, you get ready to take an electronic application and something's happened with their internet. You can't get connected. Always have a paper app with you. Complete the paper app, secure their signature. When you get back to your office, key that application into this computer. Key it into the electronic application. When you get to the point of signature, indicate this was a face-to-face sale. And you apply the signature just as you did when you would have been with them face-to-face. Take the paper app, put it in your file, and keep it. Keep it for 2 years at least. You want to make sure you have that paper application through at least any kind of contestable period that demonstrates, yes, I did get my signature. But once again, you can accelerate getting a decision. And when you do something like that, you're going to know potentially in 90 seconds if that customer was approved. If not, it gets referred to underwriting, as we mentioned earlier, to take a look at. I talked earlier about the potential to get a 10% discount if you happen to have had an underwritten Medicare sub policy in the last 6 months through an Aetna family of companies. there's a question on the app where it asks if such exists. And if you say yes to that, it's going to refer your policy to an underwriter so they can verify that policy's in force and all the appropriate timing makes sense to be able to get that discount. It will not give you an immediate decision. It will refer to underwriting. So just know that that's something that will occur. And we've actually seen so far somewhere in the 5 to 8% of applicants have been able to get this discount. So it's real. Does it happen for everyone? No, but it's a great opportunity to be able to explore for those who may have that kind of opportunity before them. So again, the application, we call it cascading. It will slot that customer into the best option available to them based upon their health. You can handle it over the phone. You can take a paper and enter it in later on. Just a couple of really terrific options that go on with this electronic app. And I'm going to pause there for a second. And Brad, if hopefully you're still with me and your computer's working well, have you heard any feedback on this electronic app, or what sort of comments have you heard, brother?
Really, that's a great question, Bob, because that's probably the one thing I hear the most about. Not only is product and how the product built very, very important, but the agent experience, the client experience, and the process is very important as well. And that's probably the biggest thing I hear the team talking about is how easy and how well this process works from an application standpoint, especially when it comes down to the signature process and having the security question signature process available. It's a constant conversation that we hear around the office, just how easy it does work for everybody. And I don't want to use the word, well, I will use it. It's slick, I guess you would say. So it's a very slick process that makes it very easy for not only the agent, but also the consumer.
Cool. Well, I had a conversation with a distributor here a few weeks ago, and they had some veteran agents who were determined to stick with paper, and for whatever reason, they found an agent at a moment where he was willing to try something, and the person tried it and was blown away. And I think his phrase was, "Why in the world didn't I do this sooner?" So it really does create a neat opportunity for us, and they continue to be making improvements with this tool. It won't let you move ahead unless you've gotten all the information. This ability to send an e-kit, and hopefully on the screen folks can see where you see that send e-kit little button. You can save your application to the file, so you always have records of it. Very, very handy regarding that for you. It's important to say that right now, as of today, this product is available in all states within the United States, with the exception of Massachusetts and New York. Massachusetts has been approved. We anticipate it coming on in May. I don't have a firm date, but Massachusetts has been approved. But right now, they're the outlier. New York State is not approved. The product has not been filed there at this point in time for those who are in the business in the Northeast. New York makes it very challenging to do business in that state. So right now it's not available there, but it is available everywhere else. There are a few states where out in Montana, and they've got some unique features around the product in terms of coverage. And Pennsylvania is the state that has this special disclosure form. So for those on the call who are in a state that you're aware that there could be unique form requirements or process requirements, know that you may have something similar. Good news is it's rare where that occurs, but there are 3 or 4 states where we know there are some unique characteristics about that one needs to be tuned into. I want to talk here briefly about some of the tools. This one is probably my favorite. This is just your basic consumer brochure, 8.5 by 11. You can order these by going to the website. Simple order process. They send them to your door. 2 things about this brochure I really like. One is, one of my favorite phrases in selling is to say, let me share something with you. And you give a visual with the customer. You turn it in front of them. It gives credibility. You see the bold heart for CVS. You see Accendo printed here. You see the name Aetna printed here. So if someone's confused, here's a printed official document with a reference code at the bottom that brings credibility. When you open it up, it does a super job of saying, one of the favorite additional questions I have in this business is does a person really understand the cost of dying? And these pages do a super job of recapping typical costs and show that the cost of dying can exceed $18,000. If you don't have your own personal experience, this is a great tool. If you have a personal experience, share it. I tell you what, I got another great idea for you. If you haven't done this, it is my understanding that by law, every state in America requires a funeral home to have a standard price list. If there's a funeral home not far from you, stop in one day, introduce yourself, and say, I'd like to get a copy of your standard price list. It will show you that these costs are very real. It'll give you even a sense of these costs, what they are local. And it's no secret. And a person can shop and choose and make all kinds of decisions. But understand, the cost of dying is expensive. Next to buying a home, buying a car, that's maybe putting a child through college. It's right up there as one of the more expensive things we would experience in life. So the tool does that. It gives that to you there handy. And then on the back cover, it's got a little box where you can write the customer's name, the amount of coverage, the premium amount, the date the premium's due, your name. You can put your card there. Just a really great tool to have with the customer. There's also a Trifold version that is an abbreviated version of this that you can slip in your coat pocket, put it in your purse. Really handy to get in front of someone, and I believe is a great tool to leave behind and to bring credibility with your customer when you were speaking with them. There's a number of other tools on the site that can help you with social media, things like that as you want to communicate more about your business. This is a sample of the Trifold brochure. As you see, as you look at it, it's very similar to the major brochure, but just a little more handy. Talking about the riders, talking about what it costs to die, key things. What is the maximum amount of coverage? What are the coverage ages? I didn't talk about it earlier, but on the modified product, the death benefit is return of premium and 10% interest the first 2 years, and it goes to full benefit the third year. Now, if a person were to die due to an accident, it pays the full face amount. Very similar to what you've probably seen with other products. And I say accident, it's not the accidental death rider. It's just if that's the reason is for death is due to an accident, that's going to happen. And it does say that as you see it in the brochure, it says modified plan, accidental death benefit, non-accidental death benefit. And it spells that out right here. So if you're like me and a salesperson has conveyed certain information to me, every now and then I say, can I get that in writing? You have it in writing. Not only do you have it in writing, but it is authorized and branded with the CVS, Aetna, Accendo names. It's all there. Somebody says, well, I was confused. I've given you a document that is very clear in conveying exactly what we have here. So some terrific tools. Being able to use your smartphone, again, go to the App Store and just download Quotes on the Go. Don't put in CVS, Aetna, anything else, just Quotes on the Go. And you can download the quoting tool that will help you keep up with that information, and just a great tool. I'm going to pause there, Brad. I don't know if we've got any questions or comments that have come in that we'd like to take a second and talk about. And number one, and number two, are there other thoughts you would like to add to what I've said, or things you'd like me to elaborate on?
You bet. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, if there are any questions, please chat them into the chat box. We'd love to answer any questions. I don't see any yet, but if you have any questions, we'll give everybody a little bit of time to enter those in, just so we can answer any outstanding questions that people have. I do have a few things I did want to share. The first thing is currently with this product, we have an application bonus opportunity. So if you haven't written any business, or if you've written any business since February 1st, you're eligible for the bonus opportunity just with 3 applications you can earn an additional $200. So that's always exciting when we have an opportunity to give a little bonus there. So like I said, that started February 1st, runs through April 30th. So we have that going on right now. And then I also wanted to share too, just to kind of elaborate on what Bob said there. Before this product came out, the team at Premier, one of the things we like to do is just dream a little bit about products and what we would like them to look like, and what they really would help us market to agents to bring a product that would be really ideal for the consumer out there. And really the CVS Accendo product checked almost all those boxes for us. So we like to call it Dreamland a little bit, where we dream of what the best product would look like, the best opportunity for us to get in front of agents. And this product, like I said, checked a lot of those boxes, all the way from the issue ages to the riders that are available, to the pricing in the product itself, to the brand recognition, and then also, of course, when you look at the commissions and those types of things as well. So it couldn't be a better partner for us here at Premier, and we've really enjoyed representing the product as well. So I'm just going to check real quick here, see if we have any questions out there. Get this box expanded so I can read it here.
While you're doing that, I'm going to walk through just a couple of recap items, and I'll come back to you here, Brad, in just a second. I think I mentioned when we started this, my goal was to, number one, highlight just how robust and how needy and how much opportunity exists in the market today. And I truly believe, folks, we're not selling insurance. We're giving people peace of mind. We're educating people to understand what the risk is to their family if they don't have a program in place, and then we give them options, truly options, within their budget to respond to their need. And so this market opportunity is tremendous. Number two, I wanted to share some of the points of distinction. Brad just went back through a number of them. This product gives you about as broad a coverage opportunity as exists in the marketplace, and we're very excited about that. And lastly, what's next steps? If you are not appointed with for the CVS Accendo product, get to Brad, get his direction and assistance to make sure you can get your people appointed. A very simple, straightforward process. Once you're registered, once you're appointed, register on the website. Immediately go to their supply ordering cabinet and order your supplies. Get some materials sent out to you directly. Get those in your hands, applications, brochures, etc. Make sure you have those. There's something on the site called a sandbox. You can actually go out and practice with the electronic app. Take one on yourself, take one on your spouse, take one on your cousin. Go through that process and get a little familiarity with how that process works. Really, really a cool tool for you to do with. I know most of us in this business work with leads. Brad and his team can get you connected to a number of those. But then again, I ask you, who do you know? Who do you know who could potentially be in this market where they may not have taken care of their final expense plans? As I said earlier, the percentage of people, the number of people who have not done that is tremendous. So they think about reaching out to those people. There's nothing worse than having a friend or family member pass and have to have the realization you never sat down and talked to them about their final expense planning. Not a good place to be. Give people a chance to take action. Give your friends and family a chance to take action and to look at the choices you have. By taking the time you've done today, you've invested in your business. One of the most valuable things we all have is our time. So I really respect and appreciate you doing that. So you're investing here. As you get out and start speaking to people, talking to them about their needs, that's where you have the opportunity to get a return on that investment. Get out and help people, change families, keep families together, change people's financial picture going forward. And if you do that, it becomes a very rewarding career. For those who've been in it a while, you know that, but this is one more tool to keep that feeling flowing, keeping us proud of what we do. And with Brad, with that, I'm going to turn it back to you to kind of wrap things up, my friend.
You bet, buddy. We do have a few questions I'd like to run through here. So we have actually a number of questions that pop through here at the end. So
Good deal.
one of the questions in regards to underwriting, and I know that's sometimes with limited information, but it's in dealing with if someone had colon cancer and they've been cancer-free for over 2 years, would they be eligible for coverage with the product?
Yeah, I think, again, what we tell people is, read the questions as written. And generally speaking, when people have been cancer-free beyond 2 years and they're not being treated, there's a product that is just strictly a maintenance medicine, they're going to have the chance of being covered. So generally, that's the case. And I think it's walking through the application, again, answer the question honestly and accurately, and hopefully this person's going to be okay.
Perfect. And then there's a few questions in regards to the grandchild rider. So we can cover up to 9 lives with that for the same price. And then also, what is that age that the client or the grandchild would fall off the policy or not be eligible or covered any longer?
Okay. A couple of things. One is the cost of the child rider is based upon, it's a per child premium. So if it's 1 child, it's X amount. If it's 2, it's going to be twice that. 3, it's going to be 3 times that. So it does vary by per child and how much coverage you're putting on it. Now, whatever coverage you choose, if it's $2,500, it applies to all children. You cannot vary coverage by child. You can't have a favorite child, but the premium will vary by number of children, number one. Number two, it's available to take out this rider between ages of 30 days and 18 years. It will expire at 25. So if they have not converted it between 22 and 25, it would expire.
Perfect. All right. And let's see here. Just had a comment as well from one of the agents that are on the call today that they've sold 2 of these policies over the phone and it was very fast. So appreciate that feedback. That's good to hear. And that's kind of what we've experienced as well here. So as far as if the client does not have an email to receive the email notification with the e-app, do they need to take a paper app at that time then, or how does that work, Bob?
Okay, if a person wants to take an application over the phone, they're going to need to. That's where the electronic app comes into play. You normally don't send an e-kit unless you're doing it over the phone. If you're face-to-face, it doesn't apply. There is not a paper app version over the phone, unfortunately. So the only way to sell this over the phone is to do it electronically. I'm gonna pause here for a second, and maybe they'd let someone send an app back and forth, but I don't believe that's an option. I think that it's safe to say if you're not face to face, then you need to do it electronically. And if you do it electronically, there's going to have to be an email address. That would be a limitation.
Okay, perfect.
Makes sense.
Thanks, Bob.
Brad, did I come across clear?
Yes, very clear. I appreciate that. I'm going to have a few other questions here as well. So the brochures you can order directly from Aetna or Premier if we actually have supplies in-house, so you can order them through your marketer as well and get those taken care of, and we'll get those shipped out from you either direct from Aetna or from Premier. There is a question as far as this being day 1 coverage, and is there a guaranteed insurance option or a graded benefit plan?
If a person qualifies for the preferred or standard policy and gives a form of payment or authorizes a draft upon approval, it's immediate coverage and it's all first day coverage. If a person qualifies for the modified plan, it's first day coverage, but the benefit is limited to return of premium and 10%. And that after 2 years, and the 3rd year, it goes to full benefit. There is not a guaranteed option. There, Brad would have to introduce you to a few other carrier partners. We have some great choices there that he can share with you to take care of that option. The good thing about this policy, if a person is kicked out as not eligible early in the electronic app process, you can make that pivot pretty quickly.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing that, Bob. And then there was a question as far as leads are concerned. We do have various lead programs. I'd encourage you to reach out to your marketer to discuss those. So we have anywhere from direct mail leads available to our agents to digital leads and also Facebook leads. So we have many lead options available in all sorts of budget ranges as well. So they vary in cost, and definitely your marketer, either Nate, Yanni, Rick, or Tom. Tom's actually on vacation, but any one of those four guys would be happy to answer your questions on the lead programs and how those work. I'm going to go over one other. I think I have two other questions here, Bob, I'll finish up with. This question is in regards to if the insured dies and there is a child rider in force, what happens to that child rider? That's a great question.
Yeah. It's a good question. I hate the answer I have to give here, but if the insured dies, the rider just expires. There's no benefit associated with it. So that's where if a person gets to the point where they're able to convert, we would encourage them to convert so it becomes a standalone policy. But in the event there is a death, the riders would just expire.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. And then as far as this being a face-to-face or over Zoom, so you can do this application either face-to-face or over the phone, or over Zoom would work as well. So that's very either one of those options are acceptable.
Yep.
I'm just going to scan one more time here, just make sure I didn't miss anybody's questions. And just want to take a moment to thank everybody for being on the call. I don't see any other questions pending here, Bob, so I appreciate you taking your time. It's always great to hear from you. You're definitely an industry expert, and you have a different way of showing the benefits of products than a lot of people out here, just because of your experience and your relationship with agents over the years. It's great to hear from you as well. And I want to thank everybody else for being on the call today. This is recorded, so if you missed part of the call, reach out to your marketer again at 800-365-8208, and they will be able to help you get a recording of this call too. We'll get that out here shortly. So thanks again, Bob, and everybody for being on the call. Appreciate it.
Have a great day. Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Thank you.